Hello there, this is Prue, and this is a video looking at the week ahead, what's going on in the astrological world, and how could it be influencing us mere mortals underneath that great sky. Because I know for myself, the more that I can understand what the planets are getting up to and how it could potentially influencing my behavior, the easier my life can be. And I'm more able in some ways to sort of be flexible and twist and turn with all the gifts and the challenges that life can offer. So there are three main things I really want to talk about this week. The first is Libra season, the second is the equinox, and the third is the new moon. But before I mention that, I just want to remind us that we're still in Mercury Retrograde. What does that mean? Well, Mercury is our planet of communication. It's what we think about, it's what we talk about, it's our natural default communication style. Mercury is the fastest planet in our solar system, and instead of moving forward, Mercury is moving backwards. So it's closer to us. We can feel its symbolism more closely. And whenever a planet is in retrograde, it means that it's revisiting an area of our life that we've already done. So in some ways, it's an opportunity for us to think about, what did I miss the first time? And this week, Mercury is going to go back over the area of our life that was happening around the last 10 days, the end of August. So it's always worth to think, what things were going on in my life? How was I communicating at the end of August? I'm just thinking personally, we just moved house. I was living my life unpacking boxes and trying to create order in some way. So perhaps my communication style wasn't as graceful as it could be. Perhaps I should ask my husband how he experienced that. But ultimately, there are themes from them that we'll be revisiting. We get a second chance. So there's just worthwhile to think about what was going on in my life. Is anything left undone? Are there anything that's unraveled that I can make sense of? So it's always worth noting what planets are going backwards and how they could be influencing you, because Mercury is quite a big player this week. I wasn't going to mention this, but we are in Mercury retrograde, so we don't need to play by any rule books. But also on Friday, which is the day of Libra season beginning, the equinox, which I'll be talking about, the Sun and Mercury become closely entwined, we would say conjunct. And that moment of when they come together is what we would call a Cassimi. And it is said that we have the opportunity when there's a Cassimi to get divine knowledge, that the sun with its warmth, with its inspiration, with its knowledge, can actually infuse Mercury and give us information that can be incredibly profound. Now, they say that the best time to take action is 2 hours before or 2 hours after. So this Cassimi moment happening in the UK is at 7:50 a.m. So it may be that you're fast asleep in those 2 hours before the moment happens. So you may have really profound dreams. Pay attention to what you're thinking about when you're waking up on a Friday morning. And perhaps it could be the 2 hours afterwards that you are inspired to take action again, or perhaps because Mercury is in retrograde, inspired to do something differently or complete something that has been left undone. So it's a very powerful week for Mercury because of its going backwards. It's having its Cassimi, it's having its connection to the sun, and it goes back into the sign of Virgo. So it's in real problem-solving mode this week. So just to pay attention to, earlier in the week, you may be more connected to others because Mercury's in Libra. Libra is all about relationships. But as the week moves forward, and Mercury moves backwards, it's going back over old steps. So I hope that makes sense. I'm just aware that when Mercury's in retrograde, sometimes my communication style can get a bit waffly. So I'm aware of that. So what did I want to talk about? I wanted to talk about Libra season. So right now we're in Virgo season. Virgo is an earth sign. It's all about organization, productivity, getting the show back on the road. In many ways, kind of like sweeping up after the party of summer. Virgo likes organization, and Virgo can be quite self-critical because there is a high bar wherever we have Virgo. So whatever house or whatever area of your astrology chart Virgo rules, that has been under spotlight for the past month. And now on Friday, we're going to be moving into the energy, into the essence of Libra. Now, Libra is very different to Virgo. Libra is a cardinal sign, so it's one of the rulers of the zodiac. It's very much about proactivity, go-getting, and it's about balance. So what you might notice is the area of life that Libra rules, you may find that you want to bring it more into harmony in some way, that you'll be wanting to avoid extremes. Let's remember, Libra is the only sign that's represented by an inanimate object, the scales. So there's something about justice, there's something about balance, learning to bring an area of our life back into balance, which is going to be very important. So have a look on your natal chart. What area of my life does Libra rule? Because that is where the spotlight, that is where all the energy is going to be focused for the next month. On the same day, we also have the equinox, the autumn equinox. So that's a kind of even more of a symbolic new beginning, because in many ways a 3-month cycle which started late June, the summer solstice, has come to a close. So I always find it's a really useful time just before the turning of the wheels about to happen, just before the equinox, whether it's the spring or autumn, to think about how are those 3 months? What is it that I want to acknowledge? What did I find challenging? What did I learn? And how did I grow? And now this is a chance to close the door on that and to think about, and where are the next 3 months? So this is a 3 months cycle starting even from the equinox, and it will take us up to the late December time. So it's a really powerful time to think about, what is it? Where do I want to take my life? What do I want my journey of life to look like in many ways? And it's always useful to remember the season that we're in. Autumn, we're in the darker stage of the year. We're very much going into the night realms. It's about mystery. It's about the unconscious in some way. So this isn't necessarily the best time in your life to start things new. This is more of a time for reflection, for harvesting, for bringing things to a close before we move into the winter months. So it's a beautiful time for reflection, to look at what's going on in your life, what needs to be completed, what is only half started, and also what is it that I need to let go of. Because remember, we've got this new moon starting on Sunday. New moon starting on Sunday, I don't think that's the right expression. We have a new moon on Sunday. So this week, the moon is very much in its waning phase. It's about releasing and letting go. So there is something very powerful about reviewing, what is it that I want to take forward into the next cycle, the equinox cycle, the Libra season, the new moon cycle, but what is it that I no longer need? What is it that isn't a positive influence on my life anymore? And this is a really profound and deep time to let things go in whatever shape or form that is to you. I know for myself, sometimes I might write it down, I might burn it, I might put it in some water. There's lots of different ways that we can choose to release and let go. But the more that we can consider what it is that no longer serves us, the more powerful we can make this week for ourselves. So let me just recap what I was saying. I mentioned about the Mercury Retrograde, things going backwards rather than forwards, and that can be about our communication styles, an opportunity to go back over what hasn't been said or to tie up any loose ends. Sometimes our communication style can be a little bit awry when it comes to Mercury Retrograde. We've got that powerful Libra season starting. So whatever part of your natal chart Libra is ruling over, that is very much under the spotlight for the next month ahead. But as well as having Libra season, we also have the equinox, which is incredibly powerful 3-month chapter beginning. Now the equinox is this big surge in energy as well. So I'm always aware that around the equinox, people tend to get a bit sick. They tend to get cough, colds. The body has a good old detox in some ways. So just notice if you've got less energy, this is a really powerful time to boost your immune system, to drink lots of broth, to keep yourself hydrated, all those things that we know we should be doing. But really, if there's one time to do it, try and do it around the equinox, because we'll really feel the benefits from it. And then on Sunday, we've got this new moon in Libra, and again, another new chapter starting to do with balance, to do with relationships, to do with those around us. There's much more a focus on others this month, because Libra is very much connected to how we relate to those. I always remember reading years ago that they always said never rely on a Libran or Libra energy in an emergency, because they find it impossible. They'll just sit on the fence. And I always think that's quite a cruel way of saying it, but there's something that Libra brings is seeing both sides of the argument. Remember, those inanimate scales, there's a sense that they can see both sides. And that's a real blessing in these times when there are very strong views and potentially this polarization that happens. So it's a really beautiful time to walk the path of the middle ground, to see both sides and realize that there isn't black and white. Libra helps us understand the gray element, that we all have our own perspective and opinion and experience when it comes to topics that can feel very emotive in some ways. So if I was to sum it up in a nutshell, I say this is a time for reviewing. Before we get to Friday, just acknowledge how far you've come, what those 3 months been like for you, what's Virgo season been like for you, what is it you want to take forward, and what is it that you can leave behind.